Okay, this problem tells us that Brian drew a rectangle on the grid below. So here's that rectangle. On the same grid, rotate the rectangle both 90 and 180 degrees clockwise about the origin. Label point A from the rectangle Brian drew as A prime on your 90-degree rotated figure, and as a double prime on your 180-degree rotated figure. So we're rotating this twice. Here is point A. They want us to focus on that. What point is that? It's 5, 5. And we're rotating it 90 degrees in a clockwise direction this way. So it's a rotation of negative 90. And we talk about this in other videos, but what that equals is, what does it equal? Oh boy. I'm sorry, I have to do this every time. I try to memorize these rules, but this doesn't work for me. I want to draw on this grid right here. Let's think about it. If we have A right here, right? That's 0.55. I draw a line from the origin to that point. The new point, A prime, if it's rotated 90 degrees, I should be able to draw a line from the origin to that point, and in fact, right, get a 90-degree angle. You can see it right there. A prime should be right here. And that is 5, negative 5. So really what happened was, and it's hard to see with this example, but I get y, negative x. And you can see it, I think, because if we had 2, 1, for example, right here, and you draw a line to it, the new line would be 1, negative 2, right down here. You can see that right angle. So 2, 1 became 1, that's the y point, and then negative 2, the opposite of the x. And we go over this in detail in other videos. So, let me just clear this up. One thing I would note is that a rotation of negative 90, negative 90 takes an xy, any xy point, and reverses the order and makes x negative. So what does this look like? So 5, 5 becomes 5, negative 5. That's A prime. It's 5, negative 5. This point right here is 5, 2. And that should become what? It should become 2, negative 5 right here. 2, negative 5. The point here is 0, 2. And that should become 2, 0. Right here, right? We're mapping it like that, and then 0, 5 should become 5, 0, and then we connect these points, and that's what the rectangle looks after it's been rotated 90 degrees about the origin. You can see how the points have mapped, and you can test it too. For example, from the origin over here to 0, 2, from the origin to here to 2, 0, you see that 90-degree angle between those two lines. That means that point has been rotated 90 degrees. So now our job is to rotate the rectangle 180 degrees. And what happens when you rotate a 180 degree or point, or any group of points 180 degrees, and I talk about this in other videos, every xy point gets mapped to negative x, negative y. So we're going to do that here. A will become what? Well, 5 and 5 are x and y. It should become negative 5, negative 5. Right? This is A double prime. And that's negative 5, negative 5. The point 5, 2 should become negative 5, negative 2. Right here. And that's negative 5, negative 2. The point 0, 0, 2 should become negative 0, negative 2. So 0, right, negative 2, right here. It's getting mapped 180 degrees. And then 0, 5 should become 0, negative 5 down here. If we connect these points, we get a rectangle that looks like this. This red one right here. So that's been rotated 180 80 degrees, while this rectangle has been rotated 90. And I mean, you can see that they're going from here, right? If I rotate it all the way down, it would end up here. It makes sense, right? You can see how it's been rotated 180 degrees. With the 90 degree clockwise, and in fact, at 180 degree angle, I can go either way, clockwise or counterclockwise, end up at the same points. But what's really important is to rotate clockwise 90 degrees, that I keep track that I'm going in this direction. Because if I went in the other direction, I would end up here, right? It's a totally different scenario. So we should be very careful about that. Alright, hope that helped.